Hello, hello. My name's DevToria, and I'm back for another Godot 4 tutorial. This time we're going to work on rotating an object using mouse drag. I've noticed that there's not a lot of tutorials going into rotation, specifically this kind of rotation that I want. I did find a couple other ones that I used to kind of work off of. One of them was Godot Mouse Drag Rotate tutorial by Game Designer Online. And it worked, but it didn't do exactly what I wanted because its rotation is based on mouse movement, and I wanted it to be based on where the mouse's position is. Another one that I watched was Spin a Wheel by Dragging in Godot 4 by Canvas GD. That one was really good, but that one is focused more towards like uh, prize spin wheels. So like you could click and drag and it will just spin really fast. So my tutorial is focused on rotating an object based on where your cursor is clicking, and hopefully it can help you. First, you're going to need a node 2D, you're going to need a sprite 2D, and you're going to need an area 2D. Area 2Ds, of course, need colliders, collision shape 2D, and we need the area 2D to be a child of the node 2D. The collision shape will be a circle. There he is. And we can make this a lot bigger. So this box is going to be our view screen, and I want this to be in the center just to make things easier. So I'm going to hold Alt and move it across. Otherwise, if I wasn't holding Alt, then it would just grab whatever was under my mouse, which happened to be the collision shape. But Alt grabs everything when you're selected on the thing, when you're selected on the node. So with that roughly in the center, I'm going to make this a bit bigger. And we will give our sprite 2D an icon. And yeah. Oh, I'm also going to add just a sprite to the area 2D for debugging purposes. This isn't required. This is just so I can show you what's happening in the code, which will make a lot more sense later. Save scene, good. Okay, so we go back to the node2d and we add a script. We're going to call this rotate mouse drag. So first we're going to grab these three nodes and pull them over to here. We can do that really quickly by bringing them into the script, and then press Control and release. And they're all here. Next, we're going to make two variables. One is dragging, which is going to be a bool equals false. And the next is called mouse click, which is also a bool equals false. So for our first function, we're going to make an input function. This is going to look for any kind of input and any kind of input that the player makes. Specifically, we want it to check for a mouse button press. So if input is input event mouse button, if event dot button index equals mouse button left, so this will check for left clicking, and if event dot is pressed, then we will set is dragging to true. Else is dragging equals false. We will also set mouse click false to here as well, because this is going to set it to false whenever the left click button isn't being pressed, so when it's released. Next, we are going to do another if statement. So if is dragging equals true and mouse click equals true. Technically, you don't need to add equals true, but for readability, I'm just going to keep them there. Here, we are going to set our area 2D to look at, and then we are going to put our get global mouse position. So now our area 2D will look at our mouse position when is dragging is true, which is when the left mouse button is clicked. But now we need to set our mouse click to be true. And to do that, we head over to area 2D, go to node, we're in signals, and then we go down to input event and connect that to our node. In here, we will take this because it's going to be exactly the same. Fix the indent. So in area 2D, when an event mouse button, specifically the left mouse button is pressed, then mouse click equals true. So now area 2D will look at the mouse position. So let's test this. Woo! Yeah, he looks at it. So you'll notice that, well, for one, our sprite isn't moving, but that's fine. But you'll notice that if I click over here and move, this little guy jumps to where the mouse is, which is what look at does. It sets the object's x-axis to look at the mouse position, which works fine as for wanting to rotate something. See, I'll show you. If we just parent it to area 2D, it will rotate. And that's great. It's doing what we want, but it will jump if we grab it from somewhere else, which looks bad. So to fix this, we will put it back to where it was, undo. And in our else function, down in input, we will set our sprite 2D to reparent itself to the node 2D. And then in is dragging and mouse click is true, after the area 2D looks at the mouse position, we will then set the sprite 2D to reparent itself to the area 2D node. We have to make sure it's set after it looks because we want the area 2D to update its rotation before it moves the sprite. So now, woo, and then if I grab from the other side, our sprite stays exactly where he is, but our area 2D jumps around. Now, technically this is done. We've done what we wanted. We've made the object rotate when we click it. But maybe you don't want the object to continuously rotate. Maybe you want to add a clamp. You can do that by going function physics process, and then with the sprite 2D, set the global rotation degrees equals clamp sprite 2D dot global rotation degrees. I found that it has to be global because sometimes it will work if you just do like the normal rotation degrees, but you have it to more likely work if you'd use global. And then I'm just going to go from -90 to 90, which is like just half a turn. So now if we go into our game, he only rotates halfway, even though we're still technically turning the area 2D. So yeah, I hoped this helped. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them, and I'll see you next time.